All right, so in the past two videos, we've been kind of looking at how to set up a word problem where the structure is, so far we're working with y is equal to mx plus b, and knowing what each piece represents is kind of important, right? And then we spent the second video, the word problems continued, looking at like what are the different kinds of questions they could ask you, right? Sometimes they're giving you a total amount, sometimes they're giving you like the part that's changing. They can give you different amounts. Okay. So it's important to make sure you guys know what the question actually is. Okay. In this video, I want to address another kind of word problem that they could bring up. And it's the kind of question like, which is better? Okay. Where they give you a scenario, right? And well, they give you like a scenario A and a scenario B. And they want, okay, well, which one of these two is the better deal? Okay, which can change over time, right? So to kind of look at that question, we'll go and write down this question. So attorney A, okay, so this person, they charge a flat fee of $250. Okay, so no matter what, if you're going to go see this attorney, you have to pay them $250, even if you only meet with them for like a minute. Okay, but then on top of that, so it's $250 plus another $150 per hour. Okay. That's why lawyers get kind of expensive, right? Because they charge kind of a lot. So $250 no matter what, and then $150 per hour that you meet with them. Okay. Another attorney, attorney B, they change things up a bit. They charge a flat fee, but they only charge 150. Okay, but their catch, so plus $150 plus, but they charge 175, per hour. Okay. So in other words, over time, the longer you meet with your attorney, and the more expensive attorney B is going to be, right? Because they're charging more per hour, right? But if you're only meeting them with like for like 2 hours, attorney A is probably better. It'll probably be a little bit cheaper. Okay. So that's the kind of question we're looking at is like, given these two scenarios, which one is the better deal or the better solution? And by better, I mean cheapest. Okay. Let's go ahead and keep going with this question. So let's say if you need to meet with them for 10 hours. Let's say 10 hours total. Okay. So if you're meeting for 10 hours, which one is the better deal? Okay. So again, we know over time, attorney A is going to be cheaper because they're um, they're less per hour, right? Attorney B is more per hour. So over time, we know that A is going to be cheaper than B, but for the exact value of 10 hours, we don't really know that one yet. We kind of got to figure that one out. Okay. So the way you approach these questions is you actually have to create an equation for both. Okay. That way we can kind of compare the two. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. So attorney A we'll do over here, and attorney B we'll do over here. Again, the structure is going to be the same for both, right? Y is equal to mx plus b. And where b, that's the amount that is not changing, right? In this case, it's the flat fee. And then the mx part, that's the part that is changing. And where y is the total amount, which we don't know what that is in either scenario. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up attorney A. So attorney A, again, let me go underline some information. Flat fee of $250. Okay, well that's the B value. Okay, So we know attorney A is going to be something, and at the end it's going to be plus 250. Okay? And then we know that the 150 per hour, again, there's that word per, because that's usually the giveaway that this is the changing amount. Right? This is the amount that depends, right? And it can be for 1 hour versus 2 hours versus 3 hours versus 10 hours. It changes based on the amount of time. So that's the MX portion. Okay? So that's what's going here. So we know it's 150 per hour. So we know it's going to be 150x. Okay? And again, the total amount, we don't really know the answer yet. That's why we're going to leave it as y equals. Okay? Now for attorney B, we change colors. So attorney B, flat fee of 150. Well, again, that's our B value. So we know it's going to be at the end plus 150. Again, no matter what, if you only meet with them for like a minute, you still have to pay them $150. And then plus 250, or sorry, 175 per hour. Okay, so that's going to be the 175x. Again, we don't know what the total is yet. Okay, so we have an equation for both, and now we can easily kind of figure it out. So the question says, if you meet with them for 10 hours, right? Well, the hours in our equation is represented by x, right? In attorney A, it was $150 per hour per x. In attorney B, it was $175 per hour. Okay, so we're just going to plug in 10 for x. Okay, so for attorney A, here's what that looks like. Okay, and I do encourage you guys to use calculators because the numbers get pretty big here, especially if the number's other than 10. 10 is a little bit easier, but I would still recommend using a calculator. Okay, but make sure you guys are showing on paper what you're doing, because that's how you show your work and get credit. Okay, so we can use a calculator. 150 times 10, well, that's not too bad. Okay, that's 1,500. And then 1,500 plus 250, well, that's 1,750. Okay, so that's how much attorney A would charge for 10 hours. Okay, now we're going to check attorney B. Okay, so attorney B, same idea for 10 hours. We're going to plug that in. So 175 times 10 plus 150. Again, 10's a little bit easy. It's not too bad. Just add a 0 on the end. So 1,750 plus 150. And then we can use a calculator for that if we need to, and we get 1,900 or 1,900. Okay. So based off these two numbers, in 10 hours, which one's going to be the better deal? Or better deal, we mean cheapest. So in 10 hours, attorney A is going to be the better deal. Okay. But don't forget, in these questions, if they ask you in words, you should always answer in a sentence. Okay. So at 10 hours, okay, attorney A is the better deal. Okay. So when these questions want you to compare things, essentially you need to set up an equation for each scenario, and then you can compare them that way. Um, Later on, we'll be graphing these as well, so you can see visually, like, well, at 10 hours, this one's the better deal versus like 20 hours, maybe this one's the better deal. Okay, because it's going to change over time, right? So we'll be looking at that in future videos um, about how to compare things in terms of a graph as well as with calculating values.